just heard music by Anton Diabelli, a composer most famous not for his own work, but for writing the subject of variations by Beethoven, but he did have to write his own themes for Beethoven to adapt, and you just heard his Minuet in A major from Anton Diabelli's 18 pieces for piano and guitar. Good morning, my name is Robbie Ellis, and this is Introductions, WFMT's weekly feature of the finest classical music talent in the Chicago area, pre-college that is. Today we have two brothers in our Faye and Daniel Levin performance studio, in front of a studio audience. Joseph Kim, aged 15, is on guitar, and Samuel Kim, aged 17, is on piano. Until recently, they were both students at Libertyville High School in Chicago's northern suburbs, but they have just moved to Chesapeake, Virginia, and they're about to start at Grassfield High School there. I have them both at the microphones right now, Samuel Kim and Joseph Kim. Welcome to Introductions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll get to know both of you. Sam, you're 17 now. How did you begin in music? What was your start?
I first started on percussion when I was around 2 or 3 years old, and I tried to get a teacher, but no one would take me because I was too young, and they kept telling me that I had to learn piano before I could start percussion. And then I started to take lessons by my grandma, and yeah, that's when we learned that I was probably a bit better at piano than I was percussion.
Yeah. Isn't it fair to say that literally every 2 to 3 year old starts on percussion?
Yeah.
Making banging noises around the house. And Joey, was guitar always the instrument for you?
I believe it always was, because when I was younger, my dad would always show me these videos of guitarists, but one really stood out, and it was Roy Clark playing Malagueña. And when I heard that, I immediately knew I really wanted to learn guitar. So when I was 4, I started taking lessons.
Wonderful. How about you go into your family? I understand that other members of your family besides you and your brother are musical too.
So my dad, he sings and he is an operatic tenor. And my mom studied piano with Mr. Emilio Del Rosario at what is now known as the Music Institute of Chicago, where we currently study.
Oh, yeah, long-time teacher there. I think there might be a competition in his name now. So, this episode of Introductions is going to feature duets for guitar and piano. We just heard one. Plus solo pieces for each instrument, music from the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries, including a couple of local composers. Sam, you are the first to play solo. Tell me why you chose this particular Beethoven movement that we're about to hear.
I chose this movement because it's early Beethoven, and I really haven't played a lot of early Beethoven, and it rounds out my repertoire nicely.
Oh yeah, what is it about early Beethoven that you're really digging, as opposed to the big, expansive later stuff?
There's not a lot of rubato and massive dynamic changes as there is in later Beethoven as it got closer to the Romantic period.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Samuel Kim, we're about to hear him perform the first movement of Beethoven's Piano Sonata in C major, Opus 2, number 3, here on Introductions. the opening movement of an early Beethoven sonata, Opus 2, number 3 in C major, a sonata dedicated to Franz Joseph Haydn. You just heard Samuel Kim, 17 years old, and he'll be carrying on this recital with some French Baroque music. Les Tendres Plaintes, The Tender Sighs, by Jean-Philippe Rameau, one of the leading lights of Paris in the 1700s. Samuel Kim is on Introductions. You just heard Samuel Kim on piano playing Les Tendres Plaintes, The Tender Sighs, that's S-I-G-H-S, by Jean-Philippe Rameau. Today on Introductions, we've got 17-year-old Samuel Kim on piano, and his brother, 15-year-old Joseph Kim, is on guitar. Joey's at the microphone now, and I understand guitar isn't your only instrument. You're a low brass player as well?
Yes, so 6 years ago, I started playing trombone in the 4th grade for my school band, but then just a year later I switched to playing the euphonium as it was a much better fit, and I still play it today in my school band, but I also enjoy playing solo works.
Okay, so euphonium as well as guitar. Not too many people with that combination. You have told me that one of your favorite composers is Johann Caspar Merz. I don't know very much about this guy, apart from that he wrote a lot for guitar. Can you tell me a bit more about him?
So, about this piece in particular, Caprice, you'll notice it'll sound a lot like virtuosic piano music from that time, and that's because when Merz wrote this piece, he was actually ill, and his wife was a concert pianist, so he would be listening to her practice a lot, and he took inspiration and wrote this piece.
Oh, well, there we are. And after that, you're going to have a second piece, one by Leo Brouwer. He's a Cuban composer. He's 84 years old. He's still writing today. And his piece, Un Día de Noviembre, a November Day, what can you say about that piece?
It has this very calm, peaceful feeling, as the name suggests, a day in November. And one of the things I love about this piece is that there's a lot of freedom for interpretation. I can play it one way, I can play it another way. There's just a lot of room for interpretation, and there are many different ways I can play this piece.
Great. Well, we look forward to the way that you choose now. Joseph Kim, 15 years old, formerly of Libertyville, Illinois, now of Chesapeake, Virginia. He's playing music by Johann Caspar Merz and then Leo Brouwer on introductions. Un Día de Noviembre by the Cuban composer Leo Brouwer, A November's Day. Before that, you heard the Capriccio from the Johann Caspar Merz suite Bardenklanger, or Sounds of a Bard. I'm Robbie Ellis. It's a brotherly duo recital on introductions today in the Faye and Daniel Levin Performance Studio, featuring 17-year-old Samuel Kim on piano and the performer you just heard, 15-year-old Joseph Kim, on guitar. Sam studies piano with Soo Young Lee, Joey with Brad Conroy studying guitar, both of those teachers affiliated with the Music Institute of Chicago and both in the audience today. Not too many composers wrote for these two instruments together, but we do have one example from José Ferrer. He was born in the Catalonian city of Girona. He became the official guitarist of a theatre, the Comédie Française in Paris, before settling in Barcelona to teach at the Conservatoire there. This is his Bolero Opus 39, taken after the song style from Eastern Cuba. Samuel Kim is on piano, Joey Kim is on guitar on introductions. The Bolero, a duo for guitar and piano by José Ferrer. It was performed by two brothers, both named Kim. Joseph Kim, aged 15, on guitar, and Samuel Kim, aged 17, on piano. Sam Kim is at the microphone once more. We'll get right into the next piece, which is definitely a curious one and possibly a world premiere radio broadcast. Misha Zupko is the composer, local Chicagoan on the faculty of DePaul University. Tell me all about this piece, starting with its title.
Bluebird is a old Korean folk song sung by farmers back then, telling the birds to not steal their crops because they will have to kill the birds if they do.
Well, that's a bit of a threat, isn't it? So the Bluebird is the folk song, and it's also the title of Misha Zupko's adaptation of the folk song. You're employing some extended techniques in the piano. What are you going to be doing?
The main melody is only 4 notes, and I'll be plucking those notes inside of the piano.
Okay, and you've had to mark the piano in such a way, yeah?
Yeah, I put little stickers over the strings that I have to pluck.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Samuel Kim. He's 17 years old and he's about to play Bluebird by Chicago composer Misha Zubko in what we think is a world premiere radio broadcast right here on Introductions. Pianist Samuel Kim, 17 years old, with Bluebird by Misha Zubko. It was written based on a Korean folk song for the Sejong Cultural Society music competition. The Sejong Cultural Society being a Chicago area organization that promotes Korean culture. I am inviting Sam's younger brother Joey to the microphone once more. Today on Introductions, we've got a pianist and a guitarist from the same family. Joey, you are 15, but getting away from music, you have a pretty clear and specific idea what you want to do for a career. Can you go into that?
So I've always been interested in weather, and I'd like to pursue meteorology later on. Weather just always fascinated me, and it's just always something I wanted to pursue and learn more about.
You say it's always fascinated you. Is there a moment when you were younger that you really thought, oh yeah, this is why it fascinates me?
Ever since, I say, the third grade, which is when I first found the fascination, I've always been interested, but there've been a couple moments, one of them being in December of 2021, in which it was the first time I saw a full severe weather event unfold, and while it was a tragedy, it really just sparked my fascination even further and made me want to learn more and more.
For context, we are recording this recital on August the 24th, which is pretty sure we're going to be the hottest day of summer in Chicago. But the Faye and Daniel Levin studio is nice and cool right now. So we have two more pieces from you in today's recital. Nostalgia by the Venezuelan composer Rodrigo Riera, and then Footsteps by Maria Linnemann, who was born in the Netherlands, grew up in the UK, now lives in Germany. Two short pieces. What can you say about the two of them?
So Nostalgia, it reminds me of a very calm, peaceful, but gloomy or rainy day. It's another one of those calm pieces, but even it being a short piece, it has its own highs and lows later on and throughout the piece. And Footsteps, it's a lot different from your traditional classical guitar piece. It is more jazz and has other elements such as tapping the guitar, adding percussion, and glissandos a lot, adding a lot of jazz that you just usually would not see.
Well, thank you so much, Joseph Kim. He's going to be playing pieces by Rodrigo Riera and Maria Linnemann on Introductions. Two short pieces performed by 15-year-old guitarist Joseph Kim from Chesapeake, Virginia. You just heard Footsteps by Maria Linnemann, and before that, Nostalgia or Nostalgia by Venezuelan composer Rodrigo Riera. We are swapping between guitar and piano in today's Introductions broadcast. Once more, I'm bringing Joey Kim's older brother Samuel Kim to the microphone. Joey's career ideas are he wants to be a weatherman. Do you have an idea what you're going to do? You are a senior in high school after all, so everybody's asking you that question.
I would like to go into music education because I really like band music and orchestra music, and it looks pretty fun from my time at Libertyville High School because they look like they were having fun and I was having fun.
So in addition to playing piano, you also play percussion in bands, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And beyond college, beyond music education study, do you have a grand musical ambition, like a piece to play or a venue or a collaborate, anything that you want to manifest right now?
I would like to perform at the main Carnegie Hall. Just anything really.
Any venue, any context, yeah. Well, there's one more piece in this recital which would be a pretty splashy showing at Carnegie Hall. I love the title. The title is Desperate Measures, brackets, Paganini Variations, and it's by the Chicago-born composer Robert Muczynski. Quite a finale to this recital, Sam, right?
Yes. There's 12 variations other than the main theme. Each of them has a very different style and have a very different approach.
All right. Well, it's based off that famous 24th violin caprice of Niccolò Paganini. Samuel Kim, he's 17 years old. He's going to be playing those variations by Robert Muczynski. Desperate Measures, the last piece in today's episode of Introductions. Now that is a tour de force. You heard Desperate Measures, which was the reworking by Robert Muczynski, the Chicago composer, taking the 24th Caprice by violin virtuoso Niccolo Paganini and putting his own desperate spin on it. And that finishes up today's duo recital. You just heard 17-year-old Samuel Kim on piano, and you previously heard 15-year-old Joseph Kim on guitar. The two of them study with Soo-Young Lee and Brad Conroy, respectively, both from the Music Institute of Chicago, and they were both in today's studio audience here in the Faye and Daniel Levin Performance Studio. Sam and Joseph Kim, until recently, attended Libertyville High School in the Lake County suburbs of Chicago. They've just moved to Virginia to attend Grassfield High School in the city of Chesapeake. Congratulations to them both today. Our audio engineer was Max Lebien, our video producer was Adela Skovronski, and thanks also to Julie Dillon, Alice McNulty, Gabriel Zucker, and Grace Winston from WFMT's Sales and Development Departments for coordinating today's studio audience. My name is Robbie Ellis. I'm the producer and presenter of Introductions. Catch you next time as I feature more of the Chicago area's finest young musical talent every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on Classical WFMT.